Hi folks, welcome to the first video in the chapter 2 examples. And in this video, we're going to talk about how to make a stem and leaf plot by hand and how to make it on StatCrunch. All right, so let's get started. This question says, from the Park City basketball team, scores for the last 30 games were as follows, from smallest to largest. And they list 30 different data points, all of these being scores in the basketball game. And they ask us to construct a stem plot for the data. And when we're constructing a stem plot, we basically start by drawing the divider, okay? So on one side, we're gonna have this is the stem part, and on this side, we will have the leaf part, okay? And so what we're trying to do is sort of clump the data. And if we look at this data, we might see that like some of them begin with 3s, some of them begin with 4s, some of the scores begins with 5s, and a couple begin with 6s, okay? And so we might naturally think that that's a great way to sort of chunk our data, that we would group all the scores that are in 3s, all the scores that are 40 something, all the scores that are 50 something, and all the scores that are 60 something, okay? And all we have to do is just write the ones places that go with that number. So for 32, I'm going to put a 2 here. And then for the next 32, I'm going to put a comma and another 2, okay? Now, I tend to get lost in my data, so I'm going to make sure I cross things off as I go, okay? So 32, 32, 33, 34, and 38. All right, so I've got all my 30s. In fact, I've got 5 of those scores. And then let's see, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 scores here. So 40, 42, 42, 43, 44, 46, 47, 47, 48, 48, 48, and 49. All right. Then we can do the same thing with our 50s. And so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 of those. So we've got 50, 50, 51, 52, 52, 52. And 53, 54, 56, 57, and one last 57. And then last but not least, we've got 60 and 61. So 60 and 61, right? And if we look at this, what we really have is kind of like a sideways bar graph, where in the 30s bin, we've got 5 things, and in the 40s bin, we have 12, and in the 50s bins, we have 11, and in the 60s bins, we only have 2 items. All right, so if I sort of highlight these all in the red, and you sort of turn your head to the right 90 degrees, you should see sort of a bar graph going that way, okay? So we've constructed a stem plot for the data, and we've chosen to bin it by 10s, but we can also bin it by like 5s and counting every 5 or something like that, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen, and we can take a look at the StatCrunch, okay? So when you get to StatCrunch, you're going to log in with our class login, and under where it says var1, that first column there, you're going to type in all your data points. All right, so I've already typed those in. I've got 30 data points. And then I'm going to go ahead and go to graph. All right, and in the graph menu, I want to choose stem and leaf. And so where we start is we have to select the columns that we're going to be using. And so I notice we're going to use column 1, that's our var1. And our leaf unit, we're going to count by 1s. Okay, we don't have to really worry about the other stuff yet. And I'm going to go ahead and click compute. Now let me zoom in. All right, and what we see is that they actually have 2 3s and 2 4s and 2 5s and 2 6s. And that's okay. All they are doing is they're chunking like 30 to 34, 35 through 39. And so they're counting each bin that we had in tens. They're just breaking it up into bins of 5 instead of 10. And that's okay. All right, so it's just a different way to look at it, but I hope we can see that we've got a stem in the 3, 3, 4, 4, 5, 5, 6, and then a leaf in all those data points to the right. All right, let me know if you have any questions.